r/AskReddit, nsfw, what is the worst part about being a fat person? Always being aware of how much space you take up. Feeling okayish about the way you look or feel and then seeing yourself in a picture and going into a spiral of depression for the next 3 weeks. When I lost weight, I discovered that people seemed way more nice to me and seemed to approach me as being more intelligent or valued than before. Nothing seems to fit nicely or still look nice in your size. Feeling and knowing you're fat and being very embarrassed about it. Everything. You just feel so uncomfortable. Having an ache in your arm or chest and not knowing if it's posture or your heart finally packing in. Just the sheer amount of room fatness takes up in your brain. You're either thinking about it or being reminded of it by your clothes, social situation, available space, etc. It's exhausting. Pool parties. Lying about being hungry so people don't think of course the fat ass is fucking hungry. Sweating. My belt trying to stab me in my belly when I sit down. The amount of pants you go through. Getting winded waking up a couple flights of stairs. Glass half full, I'm 30 pounds down in 2 months, only 70 more to go. Cutting your toenails sucks ass. Putting on a shirt, walking into the back room, seeing how it makes me look, and then never pulling out my favorite shirt ever again. At my heaviest, I went to an amusement park. I love roller coasters. I waited in line, go on, the safety bar just didn't close/click no matter how hard I or the ride operator pushed. I was told I had to get off the ride. The shame and humiliation I felt during the walk from the ride past the people in line behind me who saw the whole thing and the friends I was with who got to stay on the ride, that was the worst thing about being fat. Edit. Wow. Thank you kind strangers for all the updates and awards. Edit 2. I'm so sorry so many others have experienced this. It's such a horrible feeling, and people can be cruel. If you laugh at someone for this, you are a terrible person and need to evaluate your own life choices. Also, for those asking, not long after this, I had gastric bypass and was able to lose 125 pounds. I'm much healthier and happier. For those who have mentioned that poor boy who died as a result of being over the weight limit and not properly secured, that was such a tragedy. This is why those weight limits/restrictions exist. They suck for those of us are over those limits, but I respect their intended purpose. Finally, those who think my friends should have gotten off with me, they were ready to, I told them not to. No use all of us missing out on a ride we waited in a long line for. Asking for a extender for an airline seat. Then the folks' expression when I stop at their row. Feeling like you look really nice and then later seeing a picture of yourself. Trying to make yourself smaller on planes or anything with touching seats. Needing to be strategic about where you shop. Having everyone be an expert on your health without knowing anything other than what they see. The fucking shirt pull, you know what I'm talking about. Edit, to all of you out there, I promise you you are loved and appreciated. I'm glad to know I'm not alone in this. Feeling guilty while eating your favorite foods, not looking good in photos/clothes. My thighs rubbing and chafing. I'm so fucking raw right now. Having good taste in clothes, clothes are not the size. I've been skinny, fat, and everywhere in between. The hardest part for me is losing pretty privilege. I never knew what it was until the first time I got thin in my mid-20s. When I gained it all back, that preferential treatment was gone. And I missed it, more than I ever would have imagined. This might be an asshole response, but it's an honest one. Knowing that you are fat, knowing how to fix it, and not doing it. Edit, holy shit this comment blew up. Here's my story. I weighed over 300 pounds in my mid-20s. At 27, got engaged and lost 125 pounds. That was back in 2015. I did it by eating 1700 to 2000 calories per day and light to moderate intensity exercise a few times a week. Shout out to r/Luzite and MyFitnessPal. I know what it's like to be fat and out of breath walking up a few stairs, and I also know what it's like to run a mile in under 7 minutes. The latter is way cooler. If you're reading this and thinking about starting, do it now. Heavy breathing. Not the worst part, but the most constantly shitty part is constantly being called big guy by every kind of person other than other big guys. Mirrors. You can be having a good time while out, walk across your reflection, and your entire mood is ruined by seeing you big you look and then how disgusting you feel. That was my experience at least. Losing your mobility. To the point where if you drop something on the floor, you literally can't bend over to pick it up. And you're like, "Aw man, that was my favorite baby." You belong to the floor now, Junior. Just crawl around and try to live off the scraps. People view you as a lesser person in society. Honestly, the way some medical professionals treat you. I know someone who was always fat but was gaining significant weight in her stomach, and each time the doctor fobbed her off. Turns out it was an ovarian cyst the size of 7 watermelons which twisted inside her and would have killed her if it wasn't for the fact she happened to collapse at work where people could call for an ambulance. Eating the same exact thing as someone else who isn't fat, but feeling shame for eating it. Hating your own reflection. The judgment. You are invisible to others. Most people automatically assume you are inferior, stupid, lazy, ugly, sexless, weak, unworthy, gross, stinky, ad nauseum. Edit. I came home from work and was shocked at not only 2 awards but all the amazing comments and upvotes. Although my own opinion of myself fluctuates from day to day, week to week, I understand how many of us feel, what we go through, what we miss out on, how we internalize all those messages and punish ourselves as much as judgmental people punish us for being fat. And if/when we bust our butts and lose the weight and we see how the world treats us completely differently, we truly see that most everyone has value placed upon them in direct relation to their appearance. We may have resentment toward those who treat us differently. Maybe they deserve it. I'm lucky. I have friends who don't give a damn. I hope all of you do too. Everyone falls down and hopefully gets back up. Whatever you choose to help you cope with life, your worth as a human being is eternal. We do the best we can. Thank you for sharing. I have been on both ends of unhealthy weight. The worst part for me about being fat was that everyone assumes that all your problems are weight related. Pulled a muscle? Need to lose weight. Stomach issues? Need to lose weight. Ear infection? Must be because you're fat. I've had life-threatening medical issues that were completely overlooked by doctors because they just assumed it was weight related. I'm currently about 400 pounds. I just started my weight loss journey about 3 weeks or so ago. I'll say what 90% of fat people are thinking but won't say because, well, it's a bit too real. Knowing you have the capability to change but just not. I grew up playing sports, hell, I even like the gym when I'm there, but for years I couldn't get myself in the gym. Just knowing that not eating like shit and working out for an hour a day could fix your problems, and just not feeling the energy or motivation to do so. It's this hellish feedback loop of being fat because you have no energy and having no energy because you're fat. You feel like you're a prisoner sometimes. Luckily, I've finally got the motivation to make changes, and hopefully I will. But yet, that's the worst part about being fat. For some reason people always assumed I was simple-minded/stupid when I was obese. Now that I've lost weight, people just talk to me like I'm a regular person. The dick shortened by 2 inches. Not wanting to go out to eat because I feel like I can't win no matter what I order. I used to weigh over 500 and I've lost over 200 pounds all on my own. But I'm still fat and people still stare. No one knows I've lost weight and went to therapy to understand how to eat. No one knows I was starved as a kid and developed seriously disordered eating habits. Everyone just sees a fat person. I feel like if get a burger, people expected it, I'm getting fat person food. Once I got a salad and the waitress asked if I didn't want pizza instead. You seem like a pizza person. I went in the bathroom and cried. I have a fear that nobody is ever going to fall in love with me because I don't feel visible and I am fat. Also, going to the pool or beach and you have to put on a swimsuit. I feel like a seal stranded on the beach. There are so many. I'm not fat anymore, but I was all my life. 3 years ago I was 309, now 142, no surgery, just invented my own damn diet after failing all else. So many fat nightmares. Being oinked at in school. Not fitting in size 26 at the store. No clothing that flattered. Side eyes at my grocery cart or buffet tray. Rashes on my inner thighs from fabric rubbing together. Shorts riding up. Stains on my belly from my rolls touching the food on my plate. Not fitting on a stretcher. Mail order scrubs. Crying at night. Being the only fat person in my family. Worst of all was hideously low self-esteem. ETA, thank you for the awards, my first ever. Feeling uncomfortable all the time. Seeing chairs at a restaurant and being scared you won't fit. Sad reality. When I was heavier I absolutely hated getting out of people's cars. And sitting in the back seat of a 2-door car was total nightmare fuel. The shame. Last weekend I had a wedding to go to and I needed to buy a new shirt since my others are now too small for me. I went to a shop and was looking at the 2X shirts and an employee came up to me and was very gracious. I don't feel he was trying to shame me or anything, but he quietly told me the big and tall section was on the other side of the store. I played it off like he did me a solid because I was too embarrassed to ask, but deep down, that shit hurt, man. The self-loathing. I used to be fat, I started gaining weight and it has brought back bad memories, so here it goes. I'm already exercising more and stuff like that. The feeling of absolute disgust when I look in the mirror, when I'm about to shower and I look down and I want to cry, when that starts the impulse to starve and slash or purge. When mobility starts to limit and makes everything so much more noticeable and harder to ignore or convince myself it's okay. Especially when you have a family that thinks skinny equals healthy no matter what. Man, after losing 100 lbs I realized how much terrible shit I was just dealing with on a daily basis. Physically, emotionally, psychosocially. Physically, simple tasks become so much more taxing, like tying your shoes for example. I'd have to hold my breath because I'd have to press so hard against my stomach and chest in order to reach my shoes. And honestly, I was clinically obese, but I was in the bigger dude category under most American social standards. I can't imagine how people that need things like scooters to get around must feel. Psychosocially, if I was just hanging with a tight group of friends, this wouldn't bother me. But social settings with people that I didn't know as much were a nightmare because even if I was having a good time, lingering thoughts in the back of my head I would always have this: do I look fat in these clothes? Is my ass crack going to show if I sit down on this chair? Is my shirt making its way into my rolls? Am I taking too much space on the aisle that people can't comfortably walk by? Am I going to be judged based on what I order to eat? But if I order something healthier, they're going to know I'm just ordering that so I don't look like the fat ass I am. It really sucks. Emotionally, that's the worst one, I think. Waking up and looking at myself in the mirror and thinking, is this really what I look like? It was hard not to sink myself into a hole when I looked at myself. A few years ago I decided to change my career and went to nursing, and I said to myself, if I'm going to be telling my patients that they need to stay healthy and make changes that benefit their health, I need to do the same thing. After 2 years of learning how to eat and increasing my physical activity, I lost about 100 lbs, all before nursing school. During nursing school I gained about 50 back due to stress and using food as a coping mechanism. Now that I'm done, I'm working on getting back to the shape I was in 2 years ago. Edit. Wow. Thanks for the award. I don't think I did anything out of the ordinary, but I definitely appreciate the gesture. You all are so kind. Also, typos. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed this video and subscribe to never miss an upload.